We are here, we make change to your life in every way. We expand on your mind, so you're never the same. In your health, in your wealth, in your body and soul. The upgraders. The upgraders. The upgraders. The upgraders.
This music segment is brought to you by Upgrade Your Life radio show, hosted by yours truly, Dexter.
And Dr. Tonya here on iHeart and WDRB Media. Listen live 24/7 for double the information and inspiration.
Seen in me things I would never have seen. I don't understand why you care so much. It's all a mystery. Time and time again I ask myself, what have I done to deserve such wealth? The price you pay I can never repay. Your generosity in wanting to save me, in order to save the day. Cause of love you place yourself in harm's way. It's truly beyond me, left without a word to say. What kind of love would place itself in harm's way? What kind of love would place itself harm's way?
Thank you for tuning in to Upgrade Your Life, and we're your hosts, Dexter and Dr. Tonya. Tonya, how are you, my love?
Oh, I am doing wonderful. And especially today.
Oh, yeah,
Come on now.
Guys,
I'm about to enjoy this conversation right here.
Oh, my goodness. Listen, we just want to thank you for tuning in. We're here every Sunday night at 7 p.m. So it's exciting to have you here. So before we get into, we have a very special guest tonight. You guys make sure that you prepare for this conversation that you're about to hear, okay, from an amazing person. But before we get into the broadcast, we want to talk about our show sponsors for tonight. Our show sponsors are the Upgraders Inner Circle. This is a place that you can go to get out of your future's way. How about that? Have you ever heard, Tonya, have people ever heard of the concept of getting out of your future's way? Think about it.
I know. I think when we first put that out there, many people showed up on our doorstep saying, right, I need some help.
Right.
You know, some people don't even realize that that's actually what's happening, what's going on. But, you know, this thing is major. It is. It is.
So listen, if you want to learn how to get out of your future's way, then you need to go to the upgradersinnercircle.com, the upgradersinnercircle.com. We have some amazing people that are in there. They're doing some amazing things. Remember, it's a place for you to get out of your future's way. Mm-hmm. Whatever you want to do, we're going to make sure that you get to it. So let's get into tonight's special guest. We have, oh my goodness. How do you explain, how do you properly welcome someone to a nationally syndicated radio show? And this person has already done some amazing things all over the world. How do you do that, Tonya?
I don't know. I mean, like, how do we do this? What do we say?
All right.
I don't know. We're going to figure it out, though.
We are. So, ladies and gentlemen, we what we're going to do is bring to you a very special young lady. Her name is Talia Breon. She is, I don't even know how to describe her. Well, one thing I can say is, she's our daughter. Now we can say that.
Yes.
We'll go ahead and we'll put that out there. But Talia Breon, the accolades run far and deep.
Yes.
Not only is she a personality, a media personality, she's a director of several movies that have already hit mainstream. We've been there from day one. So we want to flesh out just who she is and to flesh out some of these she's accolades. It's been absolutely amazing. Her recent project, which she's going to share about that, we just watched this past Christmas. It was called The Night Before Christmas.
The Night Before Christmas.
Kurt Franklin's The Night Before
Christmas.
Directed by Talia Briand. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to introduce and welcome to the show, Talia Briand. Upgrade your life. Talia, welcome to our show. How are you?
I'm good. This is really cool and interesting at the same time.
Wow, so
you know what? I expect for her to say that too. She's like, okay, here I am. What am I doing? I mean, what's going on here? And you know what? I'm about the same way too.
Right.
I'm like, let me ask the questions myself and not tell the stories. How about that?
Yeah, that's good, Ty. That's just really good. That's really good. Tyler, we're excited to have you here. So, I mean, I guess you want to start from the beginning. Is that good, Tanya?
I think that would be great.
Yeah. So I know our listeners, if they've seen some of your work, probably, and they'll know it was you behind it. So let's start there. What inspired you to get into the industry of being a director of motion pictures? And I mean, how did that start? We know how it started, but we want to hear from you.
It started like a staircase. So me starting one thing kind of led to another. So I started off in athletics, as y'all know. Mm-hmm. And when that ran its course, now I have time. And now I'm like, okay, what is the next thing? What's something else I like to do? And honestly, art has always been there. It's writing poetry, drawing, painting. So then I kind of started a new venture of photography. I joined a photography club in high school my senior year, and I got really, really engulfed in that. And then that kind of gave me a love for fashion and people and just creating a look and aesthetic. And so then I did that for a long time. I started investing in equipment, and then you shoot pictures so long, you get motivated to do the next thing. And for me, it was moving images, which is video. So now I'm tapping into little model videos and testing the waters with that, which eventually led to learning how to do music videos and wanting to shoot music videos, which led to short form films of dialogue. And then that brought me here today to filmmaking for movies and, and series and storytelling. So that's kind of how it panned out.
Mm-hmm.
Were you even thinking about filmmaking? Was that even on your mind? Or were doors opened as you were taking the walk?
Yep. What you just said. And I think that would be my takeaway to give people through just sharing my own story is I've lived it. I'm living it now. So trusting whatever is in your heart at that moment and knowing that that's enough with all the answers, that is what is the key to unlock more. So it's going to bring more understanding. It's going to bring more clarity, but you have to be okay and comfortable with just working the right now that you know of. Right. So that is what has happened for me. I had no clue. If I was asked this question then, yes, I can carry a tune. So I think everyone goes through that phase of I want to be a model, or there's this fantasy idea of superstardom and wow, what would it be like to live that life? But ultimately, I never imagined directing, producing, filmmaking, nothing of that degree. Anything I was going to do creatively was going to be very much so like private and within the vicinity of myself. A self-related work. So it's painting, it's drawing, it's things that are self-sufficient only, not a full production and a team and all these different things. So what brought me to this point is, again, just being available, but what I wanted at that moment, which was, okay, I want to draw. Okay, now I want to paint. Okay, now let's try photography. Man, I really like this. There's something else though. Okay, now video. Wow. Okay, now it's writing. Oh, now it's filmmaking. And it just grew. It became that. But being here now, looking back, I can see how those elements were always there. I just didn't identify as, oh, that's a director in the making. That's a producer in the making. That's a writer in the making. Like I remember being in Conway, sitting at my grandparents' house, and I couldn't tell you why, but I just came up with an idea and I had a whole storyline in my head. And there was this guy who liked the girl and he wanted to take her out and he's dropping her off at home and there's drama happening at the high school. And I didn't know what that meant. So I was just like, I knew how to draw. So that's as far as I could fathom. So I went on Google looking up Black female, Black male with hazel eyes. And I found pictures of how I saw them and just start drawing them. And I just ended with a picture of people. That's it. But the closest thing I've seen to what was in my head was when ATL came out, which is a movie, one of my favorite movies.
Mm-hmm.
And so like looking back, those were one of those moments of, man, I really was exercising that muscle early without knowing what it would lead to. Like I like people. I like people watching without the creep of it. So just hearing minds, being in a room, hearing conversations, getting to know how other people live without me living that life has always been intriguing. And now being older, I can articulate for myself and understand. That's what all of that stuff I couldn't explain was about. It was the love of storytelling and life and growing and showing. So yeah.
So that's wonderful.
That's very good. Yeah.
It is. It is. And I think for everyone listening right now, I want us to catch something, because what Talia just described to us is the process and how much we need to love and embrace it. Mm-hmm. And so I want you to understand something as you're listening. I don't know what that thing is for you, but there's something you're doing. There's something you're seeing. There's something that you're visualizing, and you're playing a part in it right now. Mm-hmm. But if you're in a place where you're complaining, where you're questioning yourself, where you're thinking it's not happening, it will really bring about some serious blockages in your life. So what you need to do right now, we just heard a major tip. And that tip simply is, it's happening. So let it. Mm-hmm. And embrace the process, because that's what we're hearing you did, Talia. And we watched you, even when you opened up and you began to talk about all that you've gone through and the things that you've done, I started thinking about Dairy Depot.
Dairy Depot. Shout out to Dairy Depot.
Shout out to Dairy Depot.
Wake Forest, North Carolina.
Talk to everybody. Just tell everybody a little bit about Dairy Depot. What did you do at Dairy Depot?
Dairy Depot was my first job. And I got my first job at, was it 16 or 17? 16?
Mm-hmm. I think it was like 16.
So it was a new ice cream shop that had just opened down the street from my house. Like, let me get a job. My parents we'll start making some money. So I interviewed and I got the job. But again, why that was so pivotal for me, I think is two reasons. That was my first job and only job for a long time. Like I was in high school when I got it, and I literally stayed after graduating, I think, for 2 more years. So there came a point where I'm in here supervising, making ice cream with high schoolers. It's time to find something new.
Right.
But what I realized was so divine about that is that it wasn't just a job. It was me being one of the first employees to a new business for a woman who had never done this. And it was such a tight space. I got to see entrepreneurship up close. Mm-hmm. I was a part of her establishing. I wasn't walking into a Fortune 500 franchise that already had a system in place and people that are rotated and just replaced. Mm-hmm. I got to see her come up with ideas, create new recipes, problem solve, put out fires on the spot that a policy wasn't in place for, juggle a family with a starter up business. And looking back again, all of that was divine for my own story, and being that close to being the boss, so that it started exercising a muscle for me that I wasn't aware was being exercised at the time.
Right. So good.
So that is one of the benefits to Dairy Depot. And then 2, doing everything in excellence and learning that was inside of me. When you can go work somewhere that has no correlation to your personal passion and you treat it like it is, that's operating in that spirit of excellence. And it's benefited me across the board. And I've just learned it is bigger than putting in the hard work where you care. Mm-hmm. It's learning how to put in the hard work because you're a part of it. And it's and that speaks to your character, your integrity, and that is always going to pay off somewhere. So that was Dairy Depot. That was the experience there.
there's something different about you. Can we talk about that just a bit?
Well, yeah, I tell you what, let's do this. So we got to pay some bills, guys. So we're going to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere. Our discussion with Director Talia Breon. You've been listening to Upgrade Your Life. We'll be right back in a few minutes. Does your school, church, government agency, corporation, or organization need leadership, communication, and team building training? Then contact The Upgraders. We specialize in soft skills training, including emotional intelligence, influencing styles, and mindset development. We will help you create the environment that your organization needs. Email us at info@theupgraders.com. Again, that's info@theupgraders.com.
It's God's gift to breathe the air he breathes. Oh, it's true. Said he is so real. And I love the way that he makes me feel. And if I am a reflection of him, then I must be fly. Because his light, it shines so bright, I wouldn't lie. No. Can the same man that makes me so mad,
You know what he did?
turn right around and kiss me so soft?
Girl, do you know what he did?
If he ever left me, I wouldn't even be sad, no. Cause there's a blessing in every lesson, and I'm glad that I know him at all. Cause the truth said he is so real. And I love the way that he makes me feel. And if I am a reflection of him, then I must.
All right. Welcome back to the voice of the community. But this is Upgrade Your Life. And we're Dexter and Dr. Tonya. And we're here with our daughter. Yes, I said it because I'm so proud. I am so proud. And to have watched her and been watching her for the past 28 years and the things that she is doing and continues to do, it blows our mind.
Mm-hmm.
So before break, we were talking to you, Talia, and I said, people see you and they say there's something different about her. Who is that? And people are even saying to you, you're the first director who I've ever worked with like this.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to us a little bit about that. And I think about when you were at Dairy Depot, you talked to us about how this was a time where many things were imparted in you. You were watching, you're seeing a female entrepreneur step out for the first time. So you're learning principles and these types of things you've actually carried with you. But the one thing I'll say about you, just as I would listen to you, times that you would just call home to tell us what's happening and what's going on, you were continuously learning.
Mm-hmm.
You were continuously bringing who you are to everything that you do. But it was being noticed, though you didn't have to say it was there.
Yes.
I don't even know if people understanding me right now. Talk to us a little bit, Talia. Who is this person?
Yeah. You mean who is the person where they notice me or you?
Yeah, where they're noticing you. It's like, what were you doing? What did you do?
I'm trying to think of a few different moments where this has happened. You know, like I do remember when I was working at Dairy Depot, and again, I've been there for a long time. So I was there when it started. So I kind of became an anchor. So even in leaving, I remember that wasn't a typical putting in the 2 weeks notice. You know, it was days. I remember Miss Carrie working her way, preparing herself for me to leave. We cried outside and hugged outside the building. You know, when I moved to Atlanta and got my internship working with my mentor, Derek Blanks, I was his roll doll. I was at every shoot he had. Wherever I needed to be, you let me know and I'm there. And I was just a sponge. I was growing. I was learning. I was soaking it in. I didn't have anything to say. You know, I'm listening right now. I need to learn. But just that drive and that desire to be there. And then also you're humble. You know, I moved to a city I've never been in, away from my entire family. I'm 6 hours away. I've never been here. I've never done this. I am chasing something.
Mm.
So it humbles you. I have to pay bills, and I'm in a season of learning trust and faith in a way I never have. So for me, all those elements made it easy to be humble, you know, and just be grateful for what was around me. And I don't know, I think just being available to that and making it purify my heart and being intentional about that. Like the word says, like if you allow Holy Spirit in, that's what's going to exude out. It's going to exude out at moments you're not even aware, but I believe that's the truest revelation of it existing. It's not something you have to wake up every day and be intentional on. Okay, let me be holy. My objective is not to be holy. I'm to be Talia, but I want to be the best Talia. So I'm intentionally working on that. It just morphs on its own. So I'm just here. I'm just here like you here. I'm just in the room. I'm just working. But for some reason, me doing the same thing everyone else is doing, unbeknownst to me, is giving a different energy and light. And I cannot take credit for that. That's God and God only, So there are times we were in Nashville. My mentor had a photo shoot for an album cover for Tasha Cobbs. I remember, and that's the funny thing. I didn't say not one word. I walked in, I said, hey, like everyone else, and out of sight, out of mind. But I remember, moving equipment around, and Tasha would say to Derek, who is she? And he was like, oh, that's Talia. Like, that's my protege. She good, ain't she? Or something like that. And they'll just be like, yeah, she's really good. Like, she's loyal, or she's hardworking. That was the biggest thing. She worked hard. Like, I can tell, and I don't know her. It happened again with stylist Jay Bolin, who's styling everybody now. He has worked with my mentor years prior to me meeting him. And I remember being there. I'm not talking. I'm just getting the work done. And I helped walk Jay Bolin out of the studio. And as I was leaving, he turned back to me and he was like, you're going to go far, or something like that. He was like, you work really hard. And that stuck with me. Like, that meant a lot. And I was like, thank you. Then with Regina Hall, I remember Derek had a shoot with her, and he was like, can you do the video, the BTS for it? And I was all the way in North Carolina, and I got on the road the next morning to drive straight to shoot. And I shot that video, and everyone loved it. And she ended up booking another photo shoot and asked would I be there to shoot that. And when I went into the glam room and saw her, she just said, I just want to tell you, you're great, and I can't wait to see where you are in 5 years from now. So those were a few of those moments of just reminders for me walking into that new territory that God is faithful. If you do what he asks, he has your back. You don't have to overcompensate. You don't have to prove. You don't have to share your accolades. You don't have to overextend what you can do. And honestly, I believe building that culture is what has made a challenge for me in shifting to now I'm in a season where I need to speak. I'm in a season where I gotta talk my talk. I gotta let people know, like, shake some hands, because I've gone so long saying nothing. And God he just said, now move. And I like that. Yeah. So now I gotta work on talking.
That's good.
You're talking very well.
Yes, I know you guys. I know you guys are laughing at this.
Yes.
What Talia's saying, but I mean, I know years back, I'm like, Talia, where are the pictures? Didn't you get some behind the scenes? Can you take some pictures? And I'm just trying to egg you on and say, hey, you need to at least capture the moment.
She's more like her.
Even if you don't post them, at least capture it. So now we know why, right? It wasn't the time, but this is great. This is really good. Hope you guys are getting a lot out of it.
Me too. And I love it. I will always try to remember who it was. It was Regina Hall. I see her face. I could see her face, but that's the name. And I remember you sharing that, and I just sat and smiled. I mean, literally, even for myself, absorbing, the things and just living, through you, even learning through you, I should say, because for me, it's like, wow, Talia is truly exemplifying what it is, who it is to live as God's child, to be a kingdom citizen.
Yeah.
And it's in how you behave, and it's letting him be. You doing your part. He does his. And the increase comes. And that's what's been going on. And it's absolutely amazing. It's beautiful. It's really phenomenal. It is.
This is great. So Tyler, let's transition into some of your projects. Cause I know, we know where it started. And Tyler, it's interesting. You mentioned the let's not forget the spoken word.
Yeah, honey.
So it was spoken word.
Do you remember any, Ty? Do you remember any? Can you drop anything right now? Drop something for the people.
You put on.
And looking back, I wish I did better with that. All I remember, the one was YOLO. You only live once.
Come on, can you?
And I don't remember. I just remember the first
over
line.
it. Just give a little bit.
I don't know. The first line was like, they say you only live once, but did you know there's another life and this one is done? And that's all I remember.
Oh, that was so good. Where's the laptop? Look, okay, where's the laptop? Okay, Ty, you know what I'm about to ask for, right?
And it's not gonna happen. But I love you.
Yeah. Not yet, right?
I'm looking out the window, everybody. I'm just looking away, hoping she'll change her mind.
I was just thinking about that path, and then we moved up to your first project here in Raleigh. I mean, that was just amazing because people don't know. Can you share
Love and Basketball?
Feminine.
Oh. But
also, I said Love and Basketball.
Give everybody a timeline of when that happened, because I mean, you've been in this thing for a while.
Yeah,
and people just don't know it.
Yeah.
And as you talk about that, you said something before, being in Conway at your grandparents and how it came to mind. Yeah. This is what we're describing too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure.
But Talia, let me tell y'all something. Talia, do you remember when you called me? You called me. It was late at night. You said, "Ma, I got this vision," and you said this story. And do y'all know that she wrote that story that night? The whole movie. The entire movie. She wrote it that night from beginning until end. And I was blown away. So this right here is it. So talk to us a little bit. Go ahead. Answer your dad's question.
Yeah. So the series of events of my first film all the way to where I am now, and feminine. So everything you just said, it just came out the clear blue sky, and that's how I knew it was God. And it was just flowing. And I had my journal, and I had these characters and their names, and like I had like an overview of the full story. And then I spent like a week diving deeper to actually put together like the dialogue. So I remember going to the office, getting on Microsoft Word, just typing it up. But that happened in 2016. 2016, that happened.
Okay.
And after that, I had spent some time with my mentor learning just camera operating, being a PA, editing from afar and exercising those muscles. So now I'm like, okay, now I feel like I'm in a good position to actually move forward with telling a story and doing it with quality.
Mm-hmm.
Because now I have an understanding of using equipment and things. So I just needed the money. It takes money to make a film. So me, with the experience I had, I'm like, okay, let me just put together a budget of what it looks like these things would cost. And I know I know a slew of people who want to act and just want the opportunity. So it'll be a trade-off. So I started reaching out to family. I think I might have started a GoFundMe. I accumulated my own money, and I just put everything together. And in total, I was able to get $30,000 to put together this movie. And at the time, that meant a lot. So not knowing what I know now, $30,000 for me then felt like having $1 million budget.
Right.
It's more money than I ever had. So I was like, this is the sign. This is the proof that, like, God, you gave me this, and me trusting it, you've made a way for me to get the funds and just keep going from there. So we did it. We shot it. We shot part in Atlanta. We shot part in North Carolina. And then it took me 2 years or a year. It took a year, I think, to, after editing, getting it done, because then I start trying to pitch and do the best I knew to do. Like, hey, would this work on TV? Would this be put on a streaming platform? And it's funny now because not by a long shot was that ready for any of that. But the beauty of that was that's what faith and trust is.
Right.
You really believe you have something that's to that level. To people with more knowledge, you look naive.
Mm-hmm.
You look like you're moving in a space that's before your time. But looking back, all of that went how it's supposed to go. Like, that's the proof of real faith. If you feel what you're doing isn't worth the places you're trying to take it, then you don't believe in it. So it makes sense that, no, I think it's that good. And it wasn't, but the point is the belief.
Yeah.
I believed it was that good, which is why I went that hard.
Right.
Now, with the knowledge I have, I know it wasn't ready, but you need both.
You do.
Because it's people that know what I didn't know, but they don't have the belief. And then there's people who believe, but they don't know the things they need to know. So feminine was the beginning of God working on my belief. And now he's like, have that experience, right? And it's going to seem like you failed because you spent money. You had a lot of people involved. You made a lot of noise about it, and it didn't really go anywhere. Yeah. Well, that built the belief I needed, but I needed that experience to learn, okay, it's a lot more you still need to learn.
Right.
So if I hadn't done that, I wouldn't have known what was missing. So now I can focus on what's missing. And that was me growing and learning in a knowledge base. So now I have belief. Mm-hmm. And that's another thing. When things fail, you got to find a way to hold on to that belief. Don't lose that. Like, that was the beginning of him trying to work on a new area. So don't drop that off. Hold on to that. And now let's work on, you need to learn some more stuff. So now I'm able to still doing that and just merging the two together so I can really like make some things happen.
Wow.
So that's how good. Feminine came to be.
Yeah. And that was what what year was that?
2016 was the idea. 2016, 2017 was around the time it was shot. And then 2018 was the premiere in March.
Well, you know what? So, just having inside knowledge, what was so amazing about that to me. So something amazing, and then learning moments. Okay. So the amazing part is that you helped put North Carolina on the map. People that you had in the movie, that was their first time being on film. So you helped give opportunity. And I remember when you were doing what you call these casting calls. Mm-hmm. I can remember lines of people.
Yeah. Over there on Lewisburg Road.
Getting ready because you all were casting.
Yeah.
And I can remember the grunt work that went behind that. And then I can remember some people in line. They were in line for like hours, like, oh, how long is this going to take? Then they got out of line.
Yeah.
And because it was taking too long. And I'm sitting there watching them, and I'm like, it's not a good move. You're patient. Yeah. Cause I was thinking to myself, your impatience is going to cost you an opportunity. And it could potentially done that. But I was just thinking, what you're talking about literally is going through the process that we all have to go through, and look at where you are now. As you look at that in retrospect, it's just amazing.
Yeah. I want to say this.
Yeah,
this is
amazing.
really big. And I'm pretty sure everyone pretty much just about caught this. But Talia, even when you just described it as, I believed. So we're talking faith. You're like, I have faith in my project. I know it's good. Mm-hmm. But also when you say, but it didn't succeed. It didn't have the success behind it that we really desire. Mm-hmm. So for some people, I think we would think that it failed, but it really didn't. Because as I listen, I'm like, oh my God, y'all, let's all catch this. It's like, I have faith, and what you have faith in, even if it doesn't necessarily manifest what it is that you completely wanted in this moment, your faith in a thing, your faith about that thing, it still has succeeded. I hope somebody is hearing me right now.
That's good.
You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's like this, it actually is like your faith in a thing. If you really do have faith, come on, y'all, hear us right now. If you really do believe in a thing, it is so. Mm-hmm. So the way it produces and comes about, It may not be wearing the clothes you visualize it in initially, but it's still dressed up. Come on, somebody. Mm-hmm. Are you hearing me right now?
Good.
Yep.
That is literally what we just heard. That's what we just heard. So I hope somebody hollering and screaming and dancing or something right now, pulling off on the side of the road if you in your car. But I'm telling you, this right here is major. And it's something for everybody to know and to understand when it comes down to us living out our lives' dreams, our purpose, the very things that we're believing for and that we're called to do.
That's good, Tony.
It's amazing.
It is. So I'll tell you what, let's do this. Let's take a quick break. And Talia would love to hear your thoughts on what we just shared. We'll be coming back after the break. You'll be listening to Upgrade Your Life.
Are you one who realizes our world is in a state of information overload and you're trying to figure out a way to grab hold of your thoughts and reclaim your mindset? Then you need to get help. My Mind is Too Loud. How to Declutter and Quiet Your Mind by Dexter L. Scott. Go to dexterlscott.com and purchase your copy today. Again, that's dexterlscott.com.
I'm so afraid of disappointing you. So I need to talk to you and ask you for your guidance, especially today when my life is so cloudy. Guide me until I'm sure I open my heart. Oh, yeah.
Welcome back to Upgrade Your Life. And we're your hosts, Dexter and Dr. Tonya. We've been having a great conversation with director and media mogul, Talia Breon. All right. So right before we went on the break, we were sharing some things about your journey. Talia, can you talk about that? I mean, just, going off of the last segment.
Yeah, so I know we talked a little bit about feminine in that process of learning your season of standing on your beliefs, like believing and holding on to that, and perceive failures and how they're not. And, I've learned over time, I'm a realist, but I'm also faith-based. And it's not one or the other. They are combined. Faith is not neglecting the realities. Faith is learning how to change your perception about the realities. Mm-hmm. So in perceived failures, that chapter kind of taught me that, same analogy you gave. It's like, I think of God saying, do you believe that I will feed you? And if I say, I believe that, but if he brings Italian to my plate and I expected American deli, it was honored. I then have to change the idea that I had around when he said he would feed me, what that would look like.
Right.
So it's still manifested, it's just me being open at all times and believing that you gave me this vision. You wouldn't lead me this far for no reason. So I believe that this would be a success. And this is the form of success I thought it would be. But after doing that first movie and, things happened the way they did, I had to recalibrate my mind to be open to what that success was supposed to be defined as in that season, which was a jump start, which was seeing me complete something from beginning to end, seeing the community, seeing how many people showed up and were supportive, seeing me stepping out on faith and saying yes, and how it gave so many other people opportunities, seeing what you can create with little to no money when people would say you can't do something on that scale without money. Those were all the successes, not the one I wanted, but it was the one that I needed.
That's good. That's good. That was deep, Talia. That was deep.
It is. I love it. I love it. So and at that time, so here you are writing. You still love to write. You're still writing. Mm-hmm. You're still penning things. Let me ask it this way, because you talked to us about that first film, you did, Feminine.
Yeah.
Then you started doing little short films, right?
Mm-hmm.
tell us some more. What are some of the other things that you begin to do? And are we still able to find these things? Are we still able to go view them? Are they not available anymore? How does all this work?
Yeah, the series of events literally went like, I did Feminine, right? I was trying to pitch it. I was trying to get it picked up. I got hired to edit and post at Swirl Films for a BET series. That was a big moment for me too, to just have that on my resume. But being there, I was able to meet the producer for that show who works with BET. So I'm like, this is a great opportunity. Let me finish my work, my obligations, and let me try to pitch this story that I created, Feminine, to him. Well, I laid it out. I had a pitch deck ready. I had my trailers. I had the web series. I had everything available. And he was impressed, but ultimately he said, I can't help you right now with this. So again, another perceived failure. But me continuing my steps, learned that probably a year later, out the blue, I get an email from a friend now, Pre Camper, who produces film as well. She also works high up at BET, and she said, you were referred to me by a friend of mine who works here. I want to do my first film. It's a short film and I need a director, and he recommended you to me. Mind you, I've never directed for him. I edited for him and tried to pitch a project that went nowhere. But what that showed me is impressions won't never go in vain. So when you work hard and you make a good impression with someone, but they don't have anything to offer you, don't think, well, I just did all this work for nothing. You know, it's never in vain. And that goes back to the heart. And that's why I'm so adamant about that, because I don't want to go so hard for a result. And when that result doesn't happen, I'm left with nothing. I'm always going to be left with something regardless. Right. So he recommended me to her. That's how I did my first major short film. The budget was like $12,000. We raised money on GoFundMe. And this is my first opportunity to do what I did with Feminine, but with more knowledge now, taking my time, having more team. But then the biggest thing there was I'm working with notable actors. You know, Feminine was me working with people who were just hungry, but they didn't have the same skill level or experience. So this was like that level up for me of, okay, let me direct. And this time I have a larger crew. This time we have a larger budget to spread. This time I have more anchor. This time I have actual actors who have worked longer than I have. Let me see what that creates. And we put our best foot forward, and we made a short film. It ended up getting acquired by All Black. It's where you can watch it. It's available. It's called She Had to Ask. So that was a big moment for me. And like I said, everything is a stair step. If you do it in excellence, it'll lead you to your next. So from me pitching myself to a man who didn't pick it up, he remembered me and referred me to a lady, and I did her short film, and I did that with my best foot forward. And that led me to her recommending me to her friend who worked at TD Jenks Enterprise for a 7 Deadly Sins series movie that just got greenlit with him for Lifetime. And he wanted a Black female director to direct a movie called Lust. And so she referred me to that executive producer. We got on the phone. I had my interview process. And there's so many lessons to pull from this. But when they say, faith is works without debt, but also be prepared for the opportunity. So I knew I wanted this, but I had to actively keep working, or else I wasn't going to be prepared for what was in the works on my behalf that I wasn't aware of. You know, if I had stopped at, okay, he didn't like it, maybe this isn't for me. I do the short film. Okay, when am I going to do something on a larger scale? Then in private, when John Mark called Pre Camper and Pre Camper called Derek M. Williams, and then they called me and I still wasn't doing my part, what would I have gained from God moving for me if I'm not moving for me? You know, so in hindsight, just looking at how, God, I understand now. I understand your word, you know. So then Lust came, and that was my first offer to direct something for TV. So it was huge. It was huge. So that was kind of the series of events that led me to that first, in my eyes, like big moment.
Right. So what was the time frame from Feminine to Lust?
Feminine, we premiered in 2018, and I got the phone call to do Lust in 2019. No, in 2020.
Okay. See?
Yep.
And I just wanted to highlight that time frame.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you just told us in bits and pieces, but literally 3 years transpired of lessons and learnings and being processed and growing and developing. You didn't move back home to North Carolina. You stuck it out, just all kinds of things. But that was a great tale of events.
It really is. It really is. And I really hope that for everyone listening, we're drawing something from this, that you're getting something to not give up. This is perseverance. I've talked about it recently where perseverance builds character, character builds hope. And that's the word. This is what the word of God teaches us. And you have to persevere through a thing. And when you're in the moment, it's like things may not, it's so good to say, yep, this is what we're going to do. And you set the goal. Come on. Mm-hmm. That's, again, I want you to really realize something. When whatever that goal is that you place in front of you is there. But the way you visualize that thing, the way that you see it, it may not come looking exactly like you saw it. However, it's still there. But even for us as a mom, and you carrying that baby, and you can sit and think about what the baby gonna look like. But when you get the baby, you really see what the baby is gonna look like. But within you, that baby is still being formed, and it has your DNA, his DNA, everything is coming. But when it comes out, only God knows, but eventually you're gonna see it, but you keep going. Mm-hmm. You give birth, you go through those labor pains. Come on, y'all. You deal with the pain and the pressure of it all, some days are better than others, all of that. But in the end, the birthing still happens. And when you see it, Lord knows you just fall in love.
So after Lust, like I said, that was my first call to direct a movie for television. So I'm like, man, this is what I've been working towards. Mm-hmm. Long story short, we went through prep, about 3-4 weeks of just prep and phone calls and Zoom calls and just everything that comes with directing. And the day, and this is, in the middle of COVID, like when the height of it, where we're back to set, but we're having to get tested weekly, like every other day. And if someone comes back positive, depending on if they're in red zone, blue zone, which is basically who's on set and who's maybe in offices and what, all those type of things. So, the day before we started filming, I came back with a positive test result and they had to shut down the entire production. Can't shoot a movie if the director has tested positive for COVID. Oh. But at the same time, there's money involved. There's things that have been booked and scheduled. So we also can't wait out, So long story short, I ended the project with a producer credit and I actually had to step down, because of the time sensitivity and the money involved in me testing positive. Now, at that time, there was a policy where if you test negative twice, then you could possibly come back for having a false positive. Uh-huh. And I was recommended to not only do my 2 negative tests on site, but to go to clinics locally to get just a backup test done. And I did all those things. And I think in total, like in a week span, I had like 5 negatives against 2 positives. So I was like, okay, this has to be enough to get me back. Like I can't lose. I worked so hard to get here. Right. God, you wouldn't do this. And it just slips through my fingers when I don't even feel sick, Mm-hmm. So I don't know where this came from, but there was a moment I remember having where immediately I had a moment to figure out, God, how do I want to go about this situation? How do I want to feel about it? Because I know I worked so hard to get here and to lose it and it slips through my hands this close to it happening. Mm-hmm. I have a choice to make and I can fight this thing. I can try to force the thing because I want it. Or I can ask you, what do you want me to do? What's more important? As important as this is, what's more important? Is it my love for film and me and my dreams coming true, or is my love for you more important? And so I found myself in the car, and I remember calling, my mom, my parents, my family, prayer warriors, aunties. I was like, I need y'all to pray because I just need clarity on if this is God's doing. For some reason. Am I just not supposed to be on this project right now? Or is this something I should fight? Is this something beyond myself that is trying to restrict what you blessed me with? So just help me, and in that moment I developed a peace, yeah, it was tough, but at the same time it wasn't, because I had made a decision. Right. And again, that's why I'm so intentional on, out of everything I want, I desire, I love, God has its place, because somewhere along the line things happen. And I don't want to lose myself when things happen. Right. So that's what happened. I ended with a producer credit. It was still a great experience. And I think the biggest reward of that first event, again, looking back to Feminine, perceived failure, which led me to this person, which led me to that led me to this position. God, I see you working, so you wouldn't get me to this level for it to slip through my hands. Yeah. So what is it that I need to get here? And my choice of perception, so that I can add value from something that did hurt in the moment, is that if you can get this far, that for me was a moment to make my trust in him valid. And if I say that you matter most, I wouldn't have been able to stand on that without an experience like that. Right. That after I get everything I could have ever wanted and lose it, I don't lose myself. And I don't forget who you are in my life. Yes. Now I can say that I really believe that, because I was forced to have to walk that. Wow.
That is powerful. Gems, nuggets, bombs, whatever. Talia's dropping them. And look, time is flying. We got to take another break. So when we come back after the break, Talia, you can just wrap things up for us in the audience, because I know that they are enjoying this conversation. We'll be right back with the Upgraders. Do you have a business where you provide your customers with sports and entertainment and media through televisions? Would you like to know how you can earn up to $200 per television? Go to monetizemytvs.com and sign up to get the entertainment for your business absolutely free and earn money in the process. Again, go to monetizemytvs.com.
Welcome back now to Upgrade Your Life. I know you guys have been enjoying this conversation.
Yes, Lord.
I'm sitting here just listening. I'm like, oh, it's so good. It's so good. So Talia, all right, got to hear from you. You just walked us through an entire process. And one of the things that as I'm listening to you, I said, you know what? This same thing happened a second time. You talked to us about, an impression that you made. Mm-hmm. That impression, had you be referred. The referrals have continued on. Here you now are on set with Lust, here with TD Jakes, something with TD Jakes, only for it to be, I like the way you described that. You said it just kind of slipped on out my hands because of COVID. Mm-hmm. But Talia, didn't you make another impression?
I did. Yeah.
You did? Talk to us a little bit about that. What was this impression? What happened?
Going back to this series of events, right? Of a perceived failure with Feminine that led me to being referred, for a short film, that led me to being referred to an exec for a TV film. And then I catch COVID before we start filming, and I have to bow out gracefully. But the way it's like, never think how you handle anything is not sowing seeds to your next, right? Ooh. So even in that disappointment, I had a choice to make, and I wanted value from that, right? So even though whatever my opinion was of the situation, I still am going to figure out how to stand on that, but do it gracefully, right? So I still put my best foot forward, and I worked hard on that production. And that led me to another call, a redemption call, I call it, for Line Sisters with Lifetime, because I had made an impression with the execs at that network at the time for a movie I wasn't able to finish, and they remembered me, right? So another perceived failure that wasn't a perceived failure. It set me up to meet the people I needed to meet. And if you do your part, they will not forget you, right? So they called me back, and I had an interview with some new producers, and then they hired me, and I did Line Sisters. So that was actually my second television film, but it was my first television film that I was able to finish start to finish as director. Wow. So I did Line Sisters, right? You do Line Sisters. And that was good for me because it's like the network was involved, and they said, okay, we were able to see her finish the job this time. So we know what she's capable of. And then that led me to being referred again by a new producer, which is how I ended up doing Kurt Franklin's The Night Before Christmas. So that's been the series of events.
And both of those movies were awesome.
Yes, they are. They both are awesome. Yeah. But here's the thing. And now here you are, having done Line Sisters, then now Kurt Franklin's A Night Before Christmas, and Talia. Ty. You have been nominated for an NAACP Image Award. Tell us the category again.
Outstanding director in a TV broadcast or a special.
TV broadcast,
a TV movie or TV special. Excuse me.
Wow,
that is amazing.
It is absolutely amazing. Talia, just tell us really quickly, how did that feel? How did it feel when that call came through? How did it feel when you found out? Was it a call? Was it an email? What did you get first?
It was actually both. So funny story.
When we were naming you, I don't know. I don't know what it was, but I do know nothing but the Holy Spirit. And it was intentional that your name would be Talia Breon because it would be in lights.
Yeah.
And to see everything and to hear, when that call came through, I went ballistic in here, y'all. You should have been in here. If you were in the neighborhood, you may have heard me. Okay. But I went crazy. But even in that moment, I said, her name is in lights. And to see the credits going as the last movie, Kurt Franklin's A Night Before Christmas going, and see director Talia Breon. I said,
isn't that awesome?
That is what I saw. That is what I saw. And I'm like, I am so excited. I'm so grateful to God. We are so proud of you. You are absolutely amazing. You're doing some marvelous things. I give God glory for your heart. I thank him for everything that you do, and just being, the woman of faith, the woman of God, his daughter in the kingdom, and doing things as you are and as you will continue to. We give honor to him as we celebrate you on tonight.
Thank y'all.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, ma'am. So listen, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to Upgrade Your Life. We're here every Sunday night at 7 p.m. And listen, if you want to be on our radio show as a special guest, make sure you email us at upgradeyourliferadio@gmail.com. Now, if you want to connect with Tonya and I, you can go to our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/The Upgraders. You can connect with us on our social media channels, Dexter L. Scott and Tonya-Joyner Scott. We're avid podcasters. You can find us at Upgrade Your Life on all of the major platforms. And again, we are looking for amazing guests, just like Talia. So if you want to be on our show, make sure you send us an email. And listen, guys, one of our tagline is very simple. We are the Upgraders. We may not know you,
but we know what's in you.
We'll see you next week.
We are here, we make change to your life in every way. We expand on your mind, so you're never the same. In your health, in your wealth, in your body and soul. The Upgraders.